Let's roll. We got college football today in a great October month. This is awesome. Just the vibes around the country here today with college football. We got a lot of big time games going on here today. We got Vanderbilt on at home hosting LSU. We got Ole Miss in Georgia. We got the third Saturday of October, so you know it's Tennessee and Alabama, Utah taking on BYU in the Holy War, Texas Tech and Arizona State, the favorites this year versus the champs last year, and so much more. Let's dive into the 18. We got 18 picks, locks of the week to talk about. We're going to start with Georgia Tech, plus you can now get it, +3 against Duke. And I'm looking at this right now. I'm taking a look at action. And right now they have it listed at 3.5. So we're going to take 3.5 with Georgia Tech against Duke. I think that the Yellow Jackets going to win outright. So look out for that. A lot of the public I get is on Georgia Tech, and the line is moving. I like fading the line movement right there. South Carolina +5.5. I think it's down to 4.5. You might be able to find a 5.5 out there. Shop around. I think that the South Carolina Gamecocks team, though, is going to be able to give Oklahoma a lot of fits. This is going to be a real close game right down to the wire. And honestly, I think they have a decent shot of winning the game outright. West Virginia +7.5, against UCF. They have a good chance as well to be able to respond off of this. You're going to start seeing Rich Rod's system really get more into place. He's got a couple of young quarterbacks that have talent that more so fits the mold of what Rich Rod wants to do than some of the other quarterbacks that they had on campus. So I expect for them to keep it within one score, if not, maybe even win the game outright at UCF, who I don't think is very good. How about this one? Buffalo -16.5 against UMass. I get Buffalo is not a fun team to put your money on because their offense is very anemic, but UMass is just that bad. You cannot buy anything with UMass. How about this? Ohio State -25.5 at Wisconsin. That is going to be a lock. Ohio State should be able to blow them out. I think they could possibly shut them out, which is why I'm taking also in that game Wisconsin's team total under 7.5. That game's at 3:30. Speaking of team totals at 3:30, we got Charlotte going on the road or hosting Temple this week. I'm taking Charlotte under 17.5 in the team total. I don't think they're scoring more than 17 on this Casey Keeler defense. James Madison, you can get him even on the money line at +1.5 is fine with me. I think it might be -1.5 now. Let's just say for the sake of this, because you can get it so close to even, James Madison money line. They're going to be Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion's not nearly as bad as what they showed last week, and I get where Vegas is coming from, but I also think that Old Dominion, even if that result would have been completely different last week, is in over their head a little bit. They're playing a better football team than them and James Madison, and I think James Madison would have to play very poorly to lose this game. SMU and Clemson, I'm taking the over 50.5. If you remember the ACC championship last year, ended up going over up to 65 total points in that game a year ago. I think SMU is going to be really fired up on the road. I think they're potentially live on the money line. We'll talk about some of those long shot money line picks, which, by the way, I do a Discord with a bunch of buddies. I sent long shot, and the first long shot that played hit with Louisville +430 last night, but I digress. This game, I expect there to be a lot of action, a lot of passion, in particular on the Ponies side. I think that you're going to see a good amount of scoring in this game. 50.5, take the over. Arkansas +7.5 against Texas A&M. I think they're live on the money line. I talked about it on TikTok. I talked about it with a lot of friends. This just feels like a spot where you see a top team getting a lot of praise like Texas A&M lose, but at the very least, I can bank on the fact that this rivalry game is always close in Jerry's world, and now they're playing this game in Fayetteville here today, so I'm going to take for sure Arkansas +7.5. Arizona State +7.5 versus Texas Tech. They've circled this game. This is another game that's on outright upset alert. You got to watch out for this one. I am super stoked and excited to watch both of those games and potential upsets right there. Moving on to our next game right here. Southern Miss minus 3.5 against Louisiana. Louisiana is very bad. Southern Miss is in a very desperate spot to continue on winning football games because the expectation for Charles Huff's program is to compete for a Sun Belt title. They got to start winning football games. I think that they're going to put the hammer down on Louisiana today. I think they blow them out, even if it's in Lafayette. How about this? Washington State taking on Virginia. I am going to take the over 55.5 and the team total over for Washington State. So 2 plays in this game, 18.5. Washington State can really score. They traveled well, a heartbreaker last week, but I think that they're going to be able to build more momentum there with Zevi Ekos in at quarterback. And I also think that Virginia is going to score a lot too. But both these defenses stink. And in particular, I think Virginia's defense is going to struggle a little bit against this Wazoo attack. We'll see what ends up happening there, but those are 2 plays that I'm taking. How about the under 40.5 between Penn State and Iowa? Not a lot of points. You got a redshirt freshman and Ethan Grunkmeyer starting at the quarterback spot for Penn State, but I also think Penn State's defense is talented enough. They're not going to allow a lot to Iowa. I think this is a defensive slugfest. Under 40.5, and I'm taking Penn State team total under 19.5. So that's 2 plays right there. Again, USC, Notre Dame, let's take the over 61.5. The weather might be a little bit sketchy here, so you might want to scratch this off your ticket. But if the weather is a little bit sketchy, maybe that number will drop. And I think certainly Notre Dame's run game should be able to get going. But USC built some momentum with their run game a week ago. So I think that it could potentially travel well in this game. Tennessee plus 8.5 for our final play of the day, and to make it 18 total. Tennessee plus 8.5 against Alabama. I think they keep it within 1 score. I think it's going to be a really good game. I pick Alabama to win, but win close. So I expect for Tennessee to battle, fight. I think the big matchup to look for that's going to favor Tennessee is they're still, Joey Aguilar and these receivers are getting a lot of the praise for Tennessee's team, or a lot of the hype. This offense is going to space you out and still be able to run the ball physically between the tackles. I think Alabama's going to struggle to stop that. So I think Tennessee is going to be able to move the ball, establish possessions, and score. Thank you guys for tuning into this live version of Walk That Line. We did this like week 2 or something like that, and we've been all right. Right now, we're just trying to build up that record. 18 games, pretty big week for us. Let's get to it. Enjoy your college football throughout the day.